Number 17 is 1 minus the sine squared of x over the sine of x minus the cosecant of x. This is a Pythagorean identity. Remember that, and just for shorthand, sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. So if you have 1 minus the sine squared, and just make it so that you can see, that means the cosine squared is equal to 1 minus the sine squared. That is equal to the cosine squared of x over the sine of x minus the cosecant. The cosecant's 1 over the sine of x. Okay, let's take this and just pull it over here just a second. Well, no, over here. Okay, the sine of x, which of course is over 1, minus 1 over the sine of x. Basically, these are fractions, and you've got to get common denominators, so you've got to make sure that you've got a sine of x over here. So sine of x, multiplied by sine of x over sine of x, that'd be sine squared of x over the sine of x minus 1 over the sine of x. Now that the denominators are common denominators, you can write it as sine squared of x minus 1 over the sine of x. Okay, looking at this now, and keep in mind, this is just the denominator, and we're going to pull it back up. Do you remember that the sine squared plus the cosine squared is equal to 1? All right, I'm going to figure out what is that equal to. If I have the sine squared and I subtract 1, what is that equal to? I would have to subtract the cosine squared from both sides as well. It cancels there, it cancels there. The sine squared minus 1 is equal to the cosine squared. Nope, take that back. Negative cosine squared. Okay, so this is equal to negative cosine squared of x over the sine of x. Remember, this was just the denominator, so we're pulling it back up here now. Okay, and what we have is the cosine squared of x over this fraction, negative cosine squared of x over the sine of x. And just remember that dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So that would be the cosine squared of x times sine of x over negative cosine squared of x. Okay, the cosine squareds cancel, leaving negative 1 underneath the sine of x. So that would be negative sine of x. And that's the answer.